Morning. Facebook fam, Instagram fam, TikTok fam, Snapchat fam. This is your brother Ben Willard. Uh, this is a form of walk and talk. We're not on the treadmill now because I had to make some adjustments to the schedule. Some developments has been happening. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time in the Chalmette area, talking and learning the oil and gas industry out there. And man, it's a serious industry, serious industry like that. Millions of dollars coming in, millions of dollars going out. Now I understand why the country is affected. When hurricanes hit Louisiana, because there's a lot of oil production out there. There's a lot of innovative things that kind of feed the country. They got railway. They shipping stuff by water, truck. Man, it's just a major operation out there in Chalmette, Louisiana. So I picked this special effect because it reminded me of a talk that I had in one of the group sessions over at the Rehabilitation Center. And I said that we as, human beings, created by God, we all have what is called a divine protection. And I related to it like the atmosphere is to the earth. The atmosphere is a protective field. It's made of fire. Protects any foreign objects from falling onto the earth. So if you notice, on the shuttle, NASA, they have to design their ship in order to go through that ceiling of fire. That's the same type of relationship that we have with God. I mean, everybody is granted that, divine protection. You have your own divine atmosphere. And the strength of that atmosphere depends on your level of obedience, sin level, worship, praying, how you treat your neighbor. It's activities that one must do every day in order to strengthen your divine protection. Now, on the other side of that, disobedience, rebellion, self-hatred, in turn you hating on others, all the sin, just sinning, your divine protection is weakened. And as I stated in one of our group talks at the Rehabilitation Center, I said, once you out in the abyss, you can no longer say, oh, the world, because you shot yourself, as how I describe it, in your spiritual foot. So you out in the abyss. So don't expect no help. Expect everything that this world negatively is going on is going to bombard you at the same time. And as a result, you might acquire some type of mental illness. See, this is what I'm going to share on the mental health ministry podcast. Because while I was sharing my story with a lot of you guys, some of you guys have a tendency to lean on thy own understanding rather than taking the information and saying, okay, so this is a dialogue, and this guy has been dealing with this particular issue for damn near 49 years of his life. So let me listen to him and see. And, the power of the dialogue is you extracting things that you could take and apply, and even if you have to go throughout your own, story, your own investigative type of process, do it. But man, it's just, some of you guys is like, I'm like, wow. And it's like, and it's like interesting because I'm like, I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, where you're at right now, and because you have been experiencing, the effects of one that's being challenged in a mental health arena and it's affecting your life, then everything that you stood for, you just, you just threw it out like that. You know, because you frustrated from a family member that's been suffering with depression or anxiety, you're going to resort to what the outside world tells you. Man, it just goes to show you, man, we always need to, and I'm going to start to bring you guys into my development right now. We doing a walk and talk, 30 minutes of fasted cardio every morning. We're going to go into the How to Eat to Live 101. We're going to go into the mental health ministry mind side of Synergy Fitness 365. I'm just, like I was explaining this, to some of the friends of mine. I was like, man, see, the content is about, like, we have useful stuff, that we could share with the world because, like us just being us, like you just being you, man. Everybody have a powerful story that should be able to utilize these social media platforms in hopes that it can be useful for somebody that's viewing it in Japan or, Australia, North America, South America. I mean, that's the power of social media. So when I engage people on, man, so what's your Facebook page? Yeah, because your mind is going towards the negative side of Facebook or whatever, the gossip and the pretending people, man. But if you're a business person, if you're a person that have a story, if you think that you could be of service to somebody, you must be on social media. I mean, because you could create your own world. I mean, like when you get stuff on a social media podcast and you don't like, on a social media platform and you don't like it, then you could click that three circle, boom, don't show me this no more, show me that, and then you begin to create your own algorithm, man. So I'm almost getting to the point. It's like, and that's why, that I have to often check myself, because this has happened to me before, right? So I'll fall flat. The God will raise me up. I would strive to do right. And he would ignite the divine gifts that that he's already instilled in me. So what happens is, I shared this with a brother the other day, man. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm an eagle. I'm soaring high and I'm looking down at activity beneath that's moving really slow. And then I have to constantly remind myself, I'm like, man, I'm not too far removed from what I'm looking at. So that's why Jesus always taught, man, you gotta be humble. You can't cast a stone. Man, it's all inner reflection. And if anybody's been following our broadcasts, is like that's key. Everything I see outside of myself 9 times out of 10 is in. So that means that you have to go back to my spiritual drawing board, clean our act up, improve on what we're seeing outside of ourselves in attempts to gain favor with the God. I mean, it's kind of what it is. So the graphic that I'm showing you guys is some circles that's going around. It's looking really magical and spiritual right now, and it reminds me of a talk that I had, within a group at the rehabilitation center, when I explained that all of us have divine protection. It's the same relationship as how the atmosphere is to the earth, the same relationship how our relationship is with God. And depending on how strong NASA, the engineers can equip and design this shuttle to pierce through fire. The same type of relationship. What you have with the Supreme Being. And I'm just testifying. I know I've been out there in the abyss. And what happens is when you out there, you weaken your divine protection. Everything negative is going to come hit you. Depression, anxiety, broken family, this or that, and all of this stuff, right? And then when you're going through it, then we take an escape route because we don't have the proper knowledge of assessing why we out there, and we'll say, "Oh, man, it's just trial. I'm just going through a trial. I'm gonna do that. Man, God don't want us to suffer, man. Get off of how the world, makes you think you gotta suffer to be a servant of the God. Let me testify to you. You have a certain power that you can get. And once you own that line of receiving that power from your higher power, man, look. All you need to do is grow and grow and grow. Once you on that track, that divine track, to gain favor from the Supreme Being, you got it. Boy, you just once you notice, I'm a personal trainer, group trainer, nutritionist and things. Man, once you develop that bicep because of what you've done, it sparks something like, okay, so I got it to form. Now I'm on the right track, but let me grow on that track, right? Let me try different things. Let me try muscle confusion, to really grow that bicep, man. That's the same type of relationship, man, that you should have with your higher power. Man, once you're on that track, boy, once you feel that power, once you start to get that, man, discernment, so that's why I don't know why myself, it took me 49 years to kind of really see this for what it is. A lot of rebellion, a lot of sinning, a lot of, mental issues and thinking that, such and such may say, oh, well, you have a chemical imbalance. And yeah. But I will be sharing with you guys in the next mental health ministry podcast. When the outside world, tell somebody that's suffering with some type of mental condition, and they'll break it down and say, oh, well, you have a chemical imbalance. You have a this, you have a that. That's an effect. It's not the cause. So in order for you to develop a solution to the effect, you have to know what the cause is. You have to go to the root of it, right? Root knowledge, in order to address what the effect is. So the outside world tells you their cause, which is monetized, which means that once they tell you their cause, you're going back to them. You're going to buy they pharmaceutical drugs. You're gonna do all of this stuff because it's all. Let's just keep it a buck, man. We just marginalize. That's just a now. Is it wrong? Yeah. We have to make money, but if you don't have the proper knowledge, if you don't understand, like how I described in previous broadcasts, the law of nature, where you could recognize predators. You guys remember when they had the housing crash, and they was talking about predatory lending? Like they had to use that verbiage so that you can know. I'm teaching you the law of nature right now. So these people are predators of your particular segment of the population. So beware. I mean, don't walk around like how I described in previous broadcasts as a naive gazelle. One must have that. I'm going to tie all of these points into one talk that's really designed for one segment of the population, but it's really all of it. But I'm going to design it. It's going to be two parts. The first part, is going to address one segment of the population because I feel that we've been going, man, we just been on the wrong track for a very long time. And as a result, you see what's happening in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our family. By the help of God, I'm going to address that. Because what he's been revealing to me as to how to articulate that to the public in hopes that it could be useful in the form of testimony, sharing. That's it. I mean, I ain't no pointing no finger. Because whatever that comes out of my mouth, I'm saying, man, was I ever like that? Or am I currently like that? So, I mean, whatever, that I've been sharing with you guys has just been testimony sharing. Right? But the God has been revealing to me, like, how to connect that so that I could self-assess, clean some garbage up in my house so that I can present it in a testimonial type of way in hopes that you guys could see that it's useful. Because it's definitely useful for me. It's therapy for me because when I say it out my mouth, then I go back to my personal clipboard and say, this is that, are you this, are you that? Okay, so you need to make some improvements with that. So, I originally wanted to talk to you guys about, I was going to title it, but this is the first time that I'm going live on my laptop. And, normally we will have a title. I'm going to have to see how to do, okay, so I think this is the thing here. Can I do that now? Okay, so it's saying I could, let me see. It's saying I could, let me see, because I'm typing, right? Yeah, man, I'm getting this. Hey, once I get this technology, it's on. I hope I'm spelling that right. Put an exclamation point on that bad one. Okay, when I get my exclamation. That's why I'm not. Let me see what it's going to come up at. So I just hit a description. So you guys see the description? I don't know if the description is up. I gotta see what time it is, man, because I got okay, it's 3 o'clock. Okay, so I got a prayer line at 4 o'clock. 4:30, and I'm gonna head out here and start my day. I wanted to do it's probably like I don't know if I probably can just do it on my phone. What this say? Oh, this is just a comment. Yeah, so the Spirit led me to kind of really, I went to the other stuff. It's all Spirit led. But the main reason why I got on this live is I wanted to send out a warning. I want to send out a warning to the hypocrites. Those of you guys that'll smile in your face, but you're all are backstabbers. Let's just kind of be honest, and you have a history of backstabbing people. Some of you guys, it wasn't me. It was the Spirit to ask you these questions so that you could kind of like do some inner reflection. Based on what your past has been. Not me. Spark up on a dialogue to see, where you need to ask for forgiveness. Like who should be on your amends list. So many of you guys know. I told you the story about 7 years ago, right? A sister brought to my attention that we could pull certain aspects of second line dancing, the second line dancing that we do, here in New Orleans, and we can create a step aerobic type class because, we as fitness professionals, we want to meet people where they are, and we thought that second line dancing would be it. 7 years ago, we brought some people in the beginning stages and started to develop the concept, the logo, name, and everything. So 2023, the God spoke to me and said, I need you in New Orleans. Because if you guys have, viewed my previous broadcasts, I'm like, man, my intention was to go back to Georgia, like once I was finished this rehab. So I heard it, and I was like, man, and I got a headache. It's like, man, you're not being in New Orleans. I said, I need you to be in New Orleans. And I thought about all the stuff, that the God took me from. And I heard it, and I obeyed it, and this is where we are. And then once I told God, yes, I will do it, I'm going to stay in New Orleans, then he brought me through another level of understanding. He heightened my level of understanding. He's starting to allow me to see the true cause and effect relationship in the city of New Orleans. And if I continue on this path of striving to be a servant like Jesus was, I believe that we could change this city. It ain't gonna just be me, but what I'm saying is, and I shared with some of my friends, and I went to college with, and I was like, man, we frustrated about the city of New Orleans because of this, because of that, because of this. And what we do is we take all our degrees, all of our skills, all of our talents to another city. And then we'll look back at New Orleans and be like, oh, that's just New Orleans. Nothing, like, even when you study from a historical standpoint, the pilgrims, the this or that, it's always struggle before you get to the goal, right? I'm a personal trainer. Like, the first couple of sessions, the next day, my client's like, wow, I'm sore. All right. So that's the struggle before it starts to get stronger. That's a universal principle that'll never change. So then how do we think? Because the city that we living in, and it's to the point where, you don't want to reside in that no more, then you think you can't change it? You think you don't have the power to change your environment? Because again, don't be hypocritical. Because whatever you see in the community is inside you. Like that's your, how do politics say? That's your constituency, or that's your, you know what I mean? So, if New Orleans is messed up, that means that all of us is messed up. To be very honest with you, right? Wise man once said, self-improvement is the basis for community development. Once you improve self, then your community will improve. And I'm going to touch on this on part 1, part 2. Why do certain communities lack the power to defeat Satan? And then I'm going to bring all the communities together, as how the God is revealing this to me. And like, man, look, we're all in this thing together. It ain't them over there and all of that. All of us has issues that we have to internally reflect, clean up, go back into the community and say, man, I'm working on, oh, you over there. Yeah, I mean, you have different ethnic. Yeah, I mean, you have different background. Yeah, I mean, you have, but that's all the laws of nature. That's all the law of nature. Okay, so I'm speaking to the woke community right now. I was going to save this, but the Spirit is getting me because around this time is when I get the revelation. It's 2:50. And it's been happening early. So typically at 3 o'clock is when I start getting revelation. The portal is open, question and answers, like I'm sitting in the classroom of God. From that, I come out on social media and I talk about whatever that was discussed when I was in the class. You can take it or let it alone. I was going to save this, but I'm not, because the Spirit is leading me to talk about this. So the law of nature, right? You guys that have been viewing the broadcast know that how I describe the relationship between the gazelle and the lion, right? So by nature, right, the gazelle know that the lion has a certain nature. It doesn't mean it makes no difference if the lion and the gazelle go take a drink of water at the pond for 2 days straight. That doesn't mean that that the gazelle is gonna be like, oh wow, this lion is drinking water with me, so let me go chill in the lion's den with him. No, the gazelle know what the lion is, right? It's a law of nature, right? So many of us in certain segments of the community walk around like how I describe as, naive gazelles. We keep scratching our head after all of this stuff. Dude, it's a law of nature, right? Right? So in order for the gazelle to cohabitate with the lion, both sides have to understand what their nature is. The lion knows that it's a predator, it needs to eat. The gazelle knows that, man, that this guy's want to eat. You know what I mean? So it ain't no hate going. It ain't no gazelle hating and, you know what I mean? But the gazelle is not trying to integrate with the lion. Key point, not trying to integrate. This is what has been recently revealed to me. That's on an animalistic level, which means that there is no reversing out of what the Creator have created these creatures to do. They don't have a freedom to choose like we do. So the lion is going to be a lion, a gazelle is going to be a gazelle. Boom. The difference is, this is very key. This is what's been revealed to me to tie this thing in together and helping me to understand myself. The difference is human beings are different. Check this out. And I'm going straight to these organizations that always be pointing to somebody else. This is what God revealed to me. Human beings are designed different, right? First of all, we was made like God in his image and after his likeness. Okay? We've been given the freedom to choose. So if we was made like God, like him, in his image and after his likeness, so we got everything inside of us, that God, think about that, man. So the difference is once you understand the law of nature, on a human plane, then you have to have that knowledge so you don't walk around like a naive gazelle, but you can't take that knowledge and to point outside of yourself as a predator outside of yourself, in all actuality, on a human level, we all predators. And why do I say that? Like, we're all predators because we sin. And we disobey. And we rebel against the Creator, right? So the animals, they can't even do that. I mean, the ant gonna be an ant. And ain't no, oh, I don't feel like being an ant. I don't want to do this. Even though that the God, created me, to do these ant huts and all of this stuff, the bees and stuff, right? But we have the freedom to choose. And with that came rebellion. With that came disobedience. With that came sin. So all of us has a certain nature about ourselves, but time, history, and circumstances kind of really formulate a certain spirit in certain segments of the community. So in order for you to navigate yourself through this world and don't be like a naive gazelle, you have to understand that law of nature. But this is very key. Once you understand it, you have to understand that whatever you see outside of yourself is inside. Even if you're not as predatory as another group of people, you're still a predator of yourself, because how the Bible described that when Adam rebelled, death entered the world, and all of this was going to happen after that. And that never really stopped. So, according to the Bible, the first human being that was a predator to themselves was Adam. So he was a predator to himself. Which means he set out to devour himself because he was disobedient. Adam shot himself in his spiritual foot. The first person to do that. The first dysfunctional family on earth. And everything after Adam was tripping. The mercy and grace would come. Like God would raise up messengers and prophets to try to steer us on the right path. But, we all predators of self. So this going out to all the organizations that be pointing at other people. Bruh. Man, we all in this thing together, man. I'm not telling you to walk around like a naive gazelle, but just like we have to have a thorough knowledge of ourselves, others outside of the community got to have a thorough knowledge of themselves. And then once everybody come to a point like, man, we all messed up. So let me take what I have self-assessed to myself and go to my higher power, and let's do a one-on-one counseling session, orientation, spiritual boot camp. Let me clean myself up. In this community over here, the same thing. In this community over here, the same thing. And then once we self-improve on the spiritual plane, the physical plane, now we could see some positive things happening in our world. But there's no progress, and particularly part one, or I would say demographic A. There's no progress in demographic A because demographic A is always claiming victim. Like demographic A is cotton picking angels. In all actuality, demographic A is not. Like, you predators to yourself, demographic A. So when you look outside yourself, you must understand that. You will never make any progress until you understand that you are predators to yourself. So you can look outside yourself and say, oh, okay, though, these people do this and do that. Yeah, that they need to get their act together too, because we're all in this thing together. But you can no longer demographic A. You can't no longer behave, walk around, and interact with people as if as if you do no wrong. And if anybody look at demographic A, community, come on, man. Right? So you still have to navigate in the world, right? I mean, predatory A, okay, so you understand the law of nature, this and that. I mean, all of that. You know? But you repair yourself in hopes that these people on the outside that you calling this and all this other stuff, I mean, repair themselves. You know? Because God is about freedom, justice, and equality. You know, I mean, he wants to give everybody a chance to repair themselves. I mean, nobody is really more evil than, man, we all do the same stuff. It's just it's different time frames in history. I mean, this group of people has been oppressed this time. You know, I mean, the other person has been oppressed. But what undergirds it all is sin. I don't give a damn what ethnic and all of this other stuff, man, that we get involved with. You know what I mean? And that's the hypocrisy. But, man, my alarm is going off. It's 3 o'clock. I just kind of wanted to touch on that. But I know I wrote in the description is, you know, warning to the hypocrites. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, I mean, those of you that we have discussed about the second line aerobics, I noticed this in the past. You know, when I would discuss, you know, business ideas with people who I think could be useful to us, then they would take our ideas. But see, this time, warning to you, hypocrite, right? Because you dropped off the scene, you stopped communicating, I ain't really here. Warning to you, if you attempt to take our idea and capitalize on it on your end, that's your demise. I'm just trying to tell you right now, this is what the Spirit is allowing me to share with you, because I know what you're doing right now. I can feel it. You know? Like, I mean, anytime, you know, when we interact with somebody about some type of business idea, and then we thinking that we can establish some type of partnership, and that person go dark, I know what you're doing. You know, I mean, that's your history. But just to let you know, from me to you, I'm warning you. If you steal the idea and try to execute and monetize it on your end, that's your demise. I just kind of want to let you know. And I know you're going to see it. And I hope you take some type of notice to correct where you about to go down to. Just kind of let you know. So if I was you, I wouldn't do it. So it's just a warning to the hypocrite, right? Because we looking at all of you guys out here like all of a sudden everybody's spiritual. Like all of a sudden. Everybody quoting scripture and going to church. But the Spirit is equipping me to how some people describe it, right? So the ability to tune up on people. I mean, Jesus described it, you know, that you could read someone's heart. So, I mean, when you come on the thing with me, man, look, I ain't all this church stuff. Come on, bro. Like I could tell with certain language patterns, you're not really there. So, I mean, let's just keep it a buck. You know, I could tell by certain interactions and conversations that we would have with these self-righteous hypocrites as you're not, that ain't really you. You know, because you'll talk about church in 1 second and you talk about getting with a sister the next, man. I mean, stop bullshitting with yourself, bro. Because you ain't bullshitting with me. You know, because I'm reading through all of that, right? But again, not being judgmental. Because whatever I see outside myself, 9 times out of 10 is in. So I need to self-check myself that I ain't no goddamn self-righteous hypocrite. Because we easily to speak stuff out of our mouth, you know, and don't be doing nothing in the background. I mean, be doing the exact opposite. But to close it out, warning to the hypocrite in this city and outside this city. I noticed that some people that we have interacted with, you know, in hopes of some type of level of partnership, you guys all went dark. I mean, you stop communicating, you don't return texts, you don't do none of that. And I have experience in this area. I know what it is. You know, you probably right now, you know what I mean, going behind our back and trying to do this. But it ain't gonna happen this time. I just want to let you know. So you might want to do a quick U-turn, a quick reverse in what you trying to do, because I know what you trying to do. So warning to the hypocrite. Warning to the hypocrite. So I'm not critical about, anybody that's striving to do the right thing. But don't be a self-righteous hypocrite. I mean, don't be putting stuff on social media and all this stuff, and I'm in church, I'm going to church. And, come on, man. You just say that you in repair mode right now. But don't be putting all that stuff out there, making people think that you one way. In all actuality, I could tell you to your face, you're not. Okay? So this is your brother, Ben Willard. I need to get ready for my day. I may do a recap and share some other things with you guys, but hopefully this is useful. I didn't want to go into, because I was trying to save that to one time, you know what I mean? But the Spirit has just been leading me to do what I do, when I do it, and it's becoming so Spirit-led that even if I would plan an outline or a day to talk about a certain subject, like this morning, it all came out. So, we're going to save this video and, put it out on the different social media platforms, man, and I hope you guys, gain something out of it. So, yeah, this Saturday, 4035, we're going to do our first intro to the Mardi Gras Jam second line aerobics class, 4035 Washington at 10 a.m. Just inbox me if you're interested, because the pre-enrollment ended on the 16th, but inbox me if you're still interested, and we can see what we can do. So, yeah, man, just want to leave you guys with a positive note. Strive to do the right thing every single day of your entire life, and from a personal testimonial type of way, you will begin to receive favor in all aspects, from health, mental, man. But I have a lot more to share with you guys, and I'm going to do a lot more lives throughout the day, because I made a promise. One goal of mine is to lose weight. I'm going to bring you guys into my journey with that. I'm going to bring you guys into my journey of spiritual development. I'll bring you guys into my journey of self-improvement, which is the basis for community development. So I'm learning more about this, like the technology, man. And once I get to a point, oh my God, it's going to be on. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I need to start getting ready to roll up on out of here. But this is your brother, Ben Willard, with Synergy Fitness 365, Body by Ben program for men, Body by Ben program for women. Working on a major project, Mardi Gras Jam, second line aerobics class. I think I want to restart the Rise and Grind, because it's springtime, weather's kind of, so, Rise and Grind, boot camp, 7 to 8. I want to say the location is going to be 4035, but, wait till I confirm that. How to Eat to Live 101, that's going to be, within the Synergy Fitness 365 podcast. Mental health ministry is going to be under the umbrella of Synergy Fitness 365 podcast. So, with that being said, I'm out, and you guys have a great day. Peace.